Welcome to Book Huddle. I'm your host, Karen Reader with Readgab, and today our guest is Jen Calonita. Welcome, Jen. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I am so excited to talk about these books because I heard so much about Isle of Ever last year after it came out, and I just saw it everywhere. And I didn't get around to it until it came out on audio because it wasn't available on audio right away. I remember I asked
Right.
once in a post, and you were like, stay tuned, it's coming. And
Yeah.
then I listened to it and I loved it, loved it. And so now I am reading The Curse Breaker that comes out the beginning of March, and we are all so excited because anybody that finishes Isle of Ever needs the Curse Breaker available within 30 seconds.
Yes,
So,
I know.
so thank you for that, Jen. I was not warned.
I know. I've never done a cliffhanger till this series. The Curse Breaker is book 44 for me.
Ow.
44. And I've never tried a cliffhanger before. But as I like to say to people, if I can wait years for the next season of Stranger Things, people can wait a year. Because I feel like without giving too much away, you know enough at the end of Isle of Ever where you know where we're headed, you know
Yes.
what we're up against, you know what's out there,
Yes.
but we don't know how it's all going to resolve itself. So I felt like I didn't feel too mean, even though some people have been like, that's so mean.
Well, do
I
you
just,
know what?
you know,
Authors do that. They're allowed to be mean because it creates interest and it creates a reason to keep coming. So,
and it's
and it
it's
creates
fun
emotion.
reason. It's
Yeah.
fun reason,
Fun
you
reason.
know?
It is. It's a fun reason. It is. But I feel like it worked because I read another book and I would never name names. And maybe this is mean enough of me to do this, and I was like, huh? And it was the first book in the series. These characters would just show up and then disappear and show up. And then I was like, what is the purpose of that? And then it didn't feel like there was ever resolution for a lot of things hanging on, that there were a lot of loose ends and things did not come together. And as I read other reviews, they're like, oh, I'm sure it'll just come together in future books. And I was like, I did not feel like there was enough to let me feel satisfied. But
Yeah.
with Isle of Ever, I felt satisfied. You know, there was enough that came together. There were enough questions answered. There was enough resolution that things just brought it together. I understood the characters that were there. I made connections and I had a good experience. I was ready for more. I definitely was ready for more, but I had a good experience. And so I feel like you did a good job with.
I'm so glad to hear that. And I feel like, I'm a big TV fan, I'm a big TV buff. And one of my favorite things to do is watch either documentaries about a TV show or behind the scenes clips about a TV show, because I feel like I've learned a lot about writing a series, especially one with a cliffhanger,
Right.
by watching these TV writers in writers' rooms talking about how they plot out a season when it's a show that has multiple seasons. Like
Right.
how, what questions do you answer and what do you leave hanging out there? What can you give the fans and readers so that they feel satisfied, like you said, but still want to come back wanting more? And I kind of feel that way. We started season 2 of Paradise last night with my teen. That definitely ended on a cliffhanger, the first
Ah.
season. And so last night they started introducing new questions. And I was like, where
Right.
is this going? Where is this going? And so this morning I went right to online to look at a behind the scenes
Oh,
clip
nice.
of season 2, because I was like, I need to understand how they put this together. And so I feel like that's the way my brain works. I want to figure it out and put all the puzzle pieces out there and figure out what clicks, what belongs in this puzzle, and what
Love
is
it.
really meant to be part of another puzzle.
Right. Oh, another puzzle, right? Right.
Yes.
All right. So before we get more behind the scenes with Jen, I feel like I want to get right up and just, Jen, can you introduce yourself? And I want to know a little bit about you besides that you're an author.
So, my name is Jen Calonita. The Curse Breaker is my 44th book. I am from Long Island in New York. I am a huge reader. I am a dog mom. I am somebody who loves to run, but only if I can wear a costume and there are fireworks. And I love to take pictures and spend time at the beach.
I love that. There should be costumes and fireworks if I
Yeah,
am
that's
going
the
to
only way.
run.
I need motivation.
That makes me excited. Would you be one that would go and do like the Disney 5K or half marathon or whatever?
I've done 3 Disney half
Disney,
marathons, all in costume.
all in costume, like
And
princesses or pixies or whatever.
oh, yes, 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 yes. That's part of the fun. I'm not
That's
in it
so
to get
much
the
fun.
best
So the
score.
thing that I worry about something like that, because I've run one half marathon ever, and I went home and slept for 3 hours. And so
Well,
I'm
yeah.
like, once I've paid for Disney, I don't want to go and crash.
No, that is part of the problem. That is part of the problem. I completely agree. But I like the motivation of it all. It feels like a fun
Real.
run,
Yeah.
and I'm somebody who's going to want to stop and take pictures. I'm
Yes.
not worried about my
Your
time.
time. You're like, this is a cool experience. And look,
Yeah.
that's cool. I like it because that's how it should be in life. And that's actually what I got to when I was thinking of your book is it should be about the experience, enjoying life. So I like that attitude.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's a great analogy for Isle of Ever. I really believe that for both Benny in 2025 and
Yes.
Evelyn Terry in 1825.
Just enjoy that experience. Find that fun. All right. So to get to know you based on a book, we're going to use Magic Treehouse. Kids just
Mhm.
dream of anybody interested in books, right? They get to
Yes.
travel through space and time by opening a book. What book are you going to open where's it going to take you? Where and when is it going to take you?
I am going to head back to probably like the 1930s. I
Okay.
would love to know my grandparents
Oh, cool.
when they were late teens, just starting out their lives, figuring out where they're going next. I love hearing stories from like my own parents talking about their grandparents when
Yeah.
they were kids, and just to be a fly on the wall and observe everything going on. That to me just seems so fun. So I would probably head back there just to see what they were really like.
I love that. I love that. Really getting to know them at a different age and experience that. So
Yeah,
cool.
family's a big part of Isle of Ever, and I always like to say that I somehow sneak a grandparent character into most of my books. And
Nice.
I feel like both of my grandmothers had such an influence on me and why I became a reader. And when I can insert that grandparent character into a story, it just makes me think of my own grandmothers who are no longer here, and it feels like I'm keeping them alive in some way.
Oh, Jen, that's so cool. That is neat. All right. For those of you who have not heard of Isle of Ever, Jen, please tell us what is this book about?
So, Isle of Ever is a mystery adventure. It is about a girl named Benny who finds out that she has been left a huge inheritance from an ancestor she didn't know existed, that she can only collect if she plays a game her ancestor Evelyn Terry left her. This game means she has to find an island that doesn't exist on any maps off the coast of Long Island in New York. And she has 2 weeks to find the island. Well, as she starts to put together riddles and follow clues left for her by this ancestor, she realizes there might be more than an island out there. There could possibly be a cursed pirate treasure. There might also be some kids who went looking for this island 200 years ago that were never seen again. So, this kicks off a huge adventure story with a cursed pirate treasure that's like a fountain of youth. And there are two timelines and newspaper articles and maps and all sorts of things you will find in the book. I wanted it to feel like the reader was kind of figuring out the story along with Benny, our main character, solving the mystery right along with her.
Love it. I love it. I was so there. I was so loving
So
Benny
glad.
and Evelyn
Evelyn.
because Benny is Everly, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Evelyn.
the trick to this inheritance is that you have to be part of Evelyn Terry's family line, and you have to be named some version of the name Evelyn. Whether you're a boy or a girl, it could be Evan, it could be Everly, like Benny Benedict. And the name Evelyn comes into play because my grandmother was an Evelyn, my
Right.
great grandmother was an Evelyn, my mom is an Evelyn. I'm a Jennifer Lynn, so a
Nice.
variation on Evelyn. And so I tried to pull in family names where I could as well. So that's how we landed on Evelyn.
That's nice. I think there's so much to a name and names.
There is.
I love names. They can be important to us. Even the worst names like Karen. You can embrace them and they can be important. And the
Yes, they
good thing
can.
is, I embraced that long before it became an insult.
Good.
So, but I love the motivations and I won't get too much into it because it'll give some spoilers. What motivated Evelyn to do what she did with the treasure? And then
Yeah,
also what motivates Benny to
yeah.
find the treasure, to interact and solve these clues, and her motivations change. So, Jen, can I ask you what motivates you in life?
I love, I feel so grateful to do what I do for a living. This year, 2026, marks my 20th year in publishing. My first book
Oh,
came out in 2006. It was called Secrets of My Hollywood Life. And the fact that I have been able to continue to publish all this time I just want to keep going. I love telling stories. I love the opportunity to bring new stories out into the world. I love getting to share these experiences with my family, with my own two kids and my husband. I just love that idea of like when a new idea hits
yes.
and you think, oh my gosh, could this be an idea that could turn into something bigger, that could possibly be a book? And Isle of Ever is an idea I feel like I've had kernels of forever. And I just kept thinking, would it work? So
Yeah.
there's like excitement in that, excitement in building a new story and seeing where it takes you. That definitely motivates me.
That gets me excited. All right, I've read bits, but tell us there's this backstory that you grew up as a kid with grandma on Long Island. Tell us about this. What inspired Isle of Ever?
So my grandparents, my Calonita side of the family, they had a home on the east end of Long Island. For those familiar with Long Island, it actually is kind of shaped like a fish. So at the end of the island, it forks into two forks, and my grandparents were on the North Fork
Okay.
on the Long Island Sound, about 2 blocks from the beach. And when I was a kid, we didn't have the internet, we didn't have social media, I didn't have video games. I don't even think we had cable at the house. And when we would go there in the summer and I would get bored, my grandmother was big on taking me around Long Island. She would take me to local cemeteries to look at history. She
I
wanted to
love
do, oh my
cemeteries.
gosh, she would take me to do grave rubbings. She would take me to local author book signings. She was always taking me to the bookstore. And when I was still bored, she would say, well, maybe we could walk down to the beach and dig for pirate treasure. And I said, why would we do that? And she said, well, Captain Kidd, a very famous pirate who sailed a lot of places, he also sailed around Long Island and he had buried a great deal of treasure on a tiny privately owned island known as Gardiner's Island. It's in between Long Island's two forks.
Okay.
But the rumor was always he had buried treasure elsewhere, and some of it hasn't been found. So every summer we would dig for buried treasure and we would look and look. And being a creative kid,
Yeah.
I would lie awake at night in a very hot room without air conditioning. And I
Oh,
would think
okay.
about
That
where,
part sounds awful. I'm
oh
living
my God.
all until
But it
then,
would keep you awake. And I would think, where could this treasure be?
right?
Why can't I find it? Maybe it's somewhere I can't see. Maybe it's on an island off of Long Island that only shows up every once in a while. So a few years ago, my parents inherited my grandparents' house, and I was out at the house and I thought, oh my gosh, what about that pirate treasure again? What if I told that story? Could I tell that story? Could I find a way to tell that story? And so that's where the idea took hold. And I thought, let's see what we can do with this.
Oh, so cool. I love it. I love everything that's going on in this book. Dual timeline and pirates and just the treasure and the fun and the friendship. And it's so great. But
Thank
because there's so much going on, it makes me wonder about pacing. How
Oh,
did you
yeah.
do this? How'd you put it all together?
I have an excellent editor, Wendy.
Nice.
She's
I thought you
incredible.
said for a second, I am an excellent editor.
No, no, I love revising. I will tell you revising is one of my favorite things to do. Believe it or not, I love it so much more than a first draft.
Really, that's good.
I find hard, very hard. I hate getting it out of my head onto paper.
Really, Kate, I'm the opposite, and so that's why I'm not published because
I
I
mean,
just
I
write
it's
first drafts.
so hard. I like to revise, but you always use a vision board.
Hmm.
I will map out the whole story. I will put pictures on that board. People, either celebrities or real people who look like my characters in my head. Anything I can add, clippings, newspaper clippings, articles, and then I plot out the story using post-it notes. In
Nice.
this case, there were a lot of different color post-it notes because there's dual timelines, so there's more than one protagonist in this story, and narrator. There are these newspaper articles. There are even pages that have their own post-it notes. There's weather reports. And I love, as a kid, I always felt like I would finish a story and I wanted more.
Right.
It's just like me wanting behind the scenes of a TV show. Like, what
Right.
else can I learn about this? So to me, it felt fun to take the reader out of the story for a minute and give them things they might not understand at that exact moment, like a newspaper article from the 1800s. What does this have to do with what Benny is searching for in 2025? And so I like to think of this all visually. And so I have this board up always in my office where I'm staring at it. Where do these puzzle pieces go, so to speak? How do they click into place? Sometimes I get it right. And
Hmm.
sometimes, I will say there was a bigger reveal at the end of book one that wound up being a big reveal in book two because my editor said, I think you're giving too much away here. Maybe we hold some of this back. And
Okay.
so we did rework it. And I do think she was right. I think the big reveal at the end of book two is so satisfying that my hope is that readers will be like, okay, we're in it. We're ready for book three. We're ready for book three. We're ready to see how this all comes together and ends.
Nice. Nice. Okay. So now we've got book two,
Hmm.
and we've got new characters that
Yes.
I think are going to have a really big impact. I'm not finished, but particularly this adult female, right? And
Hmm.
then we've got also new points of view with Gil.
Yes.
And so this is fun. How did that come? Was it just like I need it from his point? How did it come working in book two?
Well, originally we've got Benny in 2025 looking
Mhm.
for the treasure. We've got Evelyn Terry, her ancestor, in 1825. She has diaries, and it kind of
Right,
explains, why there actually is an inheritance, why, Benny is searching for this island because Evelyn found it first.
right.
And there are friends of Evelyn who, not to give too much away, might have gone missing when they were looking for the island. So to me, if your friends have been missing for a very long time, 200 years, what was life like for them? What are they thinking? What are they doing? So it felt like in book two, we needed one of those characters to tell their story and explain what was going on in a new way from their point of view. And so Gil, who is one of Evelyn Terry's best friends, who's been trapped a very long time, comes to help Benny figure out how to break this cursed pirate treasure and help Benny save the day. And so he felt like the right person for book two. That's not to say somebody else isn't the right person in book three.
Nice.
And there is this introduction of a new character, a very mysterious new
Right.
character who quite possibly could go by several different names.
That's what I'm getting the feel.
So I don't want to give too much away, but I loved writing this new character. She kind of reminds me of a cat, so to speak. She's had 9 lives, so to speak. My whole thing with this treasure is this treasure that is out there, that's on this island, is almost like a fountain of youth.
Okay.
And there are some people who would view living forever as a great gift and
Yeah.
they would do a lot with it. And there are some people who would view this as a curse. And why do people view this in different ways? What perspective do they have about the whole thing? And so, and sometimes people's perspectives change. So that to me just felt so fun to explore.
Oh, I love the change of perspective, the change of what's motivating them and things like that. Do you know what else I love? When I was reading over some Goodreads reviews and people would say it's Pirates of the Caribbean and Tuck Everlasting. And I love like the Tuck Everlasting. And when you were just
Yeah.
talking, and who can't love pirates, I mean, yeah.
And Tuck Everlasting was so incredible, and just
Yes.
that idea of living forever, how it's a gift and a curse.
Yes. And the guy who wants to do so much with it, he wants it for the
Yes,
good but not good, like the,
yes.
bad. bad
Yes.
intentions guy in the yellow coat.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And, there could be characters like that in Isle of Ever as well. And then, just making it a pirate treasure. We were always huge fans of Pirates of the Caribbean in our house. The first movie was such a big deal in our house. Our first Chihuahua was named Captain Jack Sparrow, which was always
Yes.
really comical when we would go to the vet for an appointment because everybody around us would be like, wait, did you really name your dog after Captain Jack Sparrow? And we're like, yes, he is Captain
Yes.
Jack Sparrow. That is
The
his
full name.
real
Write
name.
that full
Full
name
name.
down. Captain
Yeah.
Jack Sparrow.
Captain Jack Sparrow. He wasn't
That was
Captain
me.
Jack.
I was like, Empress Theodora. Yes, we call her Thea, but please write down Empress Theodora.
And I find we're not alone in this because now when we go to the vet with Ben Kenobi, our
Right?
younger Chihuahua, I always get a kick out of hearing the vet's office yell out names because
Uh-huh.
I've met a Thor and Loki, I've met a Percy
Nice.
Jackson. There are so many. It's
Oh,
cute. It's
that's
cute.
fun. That is so fun. Jen, what are your hopes for readers when they read this book?
When they read book two, I feel like the questions that they still had at the end of book one, they're going to get some of those answers in book two. And when you get to the end of book two, there are certain things that are going to click into place. There is a reason book two is called The Curse Breaker. We have wanted to know why Benny
Yeah.
is the curse breaker.
Why,
Why
Ben?
is she the curse breaker? What is her connection to her
Come on,
aunt
Aggie.
makes her so? So, right? And and why does Aggie, her friend, have this vision? Evelyn Terry's friend Aggie have this vision that there's a girl named Everly Benedict who's 12 in 2025 who can break this curse. That answer you will get at the end
Ooh.
too. I promise you that. There
Hey,
might be
get some
more
answers.
questions.
That feels good.
But
Something to
more
answer.
questions. There's more questions. It was always
Answers only
confusing.
lead to more questions. It's really
That's right.
true. I mean, really,
Yeah.
when you study anything,
Yes.
there's very seldom that you're like, and now I'm complete and finished
No.
studying this. Like my husband's a historian and he's always studying stuff, and it's like it just leads to more research and questions. It's not like there's going to be an end and it's like I'm done.
Right. And there are things, like that we learn even in Isle of Ever where you or I would be like, well, how did no one know this? How did no
Right.
one know this person was related to this person? Well, the way we used to mark births and deaths
Yeah. It's been
was very
200
different.
years.
And
Yeah.
mhm. We recently found my grandfather's birth certificate and realized our last name is not actually Calonita. How
Oh.
did no one know this till now? It's Calamucci. And so now my family is like spending time in Italy and trying to figure out where the Calamucci family came from. So, but you would think that's not that long ago, right? That
Right.
would be like early 1900s. How did we not know this? But we didn't. So that's,
Was it when he immigrated and just what he wrote down when he immigrated?
yes. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So, that's the interesting part of Isle of Ever. Now you're dealing with the 1800s
Yeah.
and there's certain people, I mean, you're going to see this play again and again in the Isle of Ever series. So, I'm working on book three now and I'm just having so much fun. I just hope the
Cool.
readers enjoy the big reveals in Cursebreaker. Cursebreaker is so much fun. That new character who shall remain nameless but is
Yeah.
female was so much fun to write.
Yeah.
I like a devious character. Writing a devious character can be fun. And
Right.
right away there is something about this character when they're
Yeah.
introduced that
Yes. You
you
just
might not want to trust them.
yeah, you just feel it. And I've had her, I think I've met her 3 times now. And
Mhm.
each time it hasn't been like, and this is the same person, but I'm like, ooh, that's you, and you're not good.
Right.
E-
Right. And
Even
and
though
the
there's
whole
nothing that's told me that you're not. I can tell.
right. It's like and the reader will see like if she introduced herself for the first time as Karen and then I said, "Hi Karen," and then you said, "Oh no, it's Carrie." And I'd be like, "Wait, was it Carrie? Was it Karen?" And this keeps happening in Cursebreaker and oh, she's a lot of fun. It's a
That's cool.
lot of fun to
So
work with
fun to
her.
write.
You'll have to let me know when you finish what you
Okay.
think.
Yes, I'll message you. Tell you all about it. It'll be fun.
Please do.
Let's talk about Benny some more. So,
Hmm.
Benny, weight of the world. And I just wanted to get more into this because it's got to be so hard for a kid in this situation. I know there are kids throughout the world like this that they don't know if they're going to get their next meal. They don't know
Yep.
if next month there's going to be
Yep.
enough money for rent and they're going to be kicked out. And so in the beginning, like she's got some real realities and stress. And
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
I like her though that I feel like too much so is put on her. Not
Yeah.
like, oh, Jen, you shouldn't have done that as the author, but like you would wish that a child wouldn't have that type thing. You know what I mean? Not that
Yeah.
that it makes me sad for a child. And
Yes.
so, but just the way she develops. Tell me about writing Benny.
So it's fun because, I mean, no one wants to read a perfect character, right? I mean, if
Right.
everything went well for our characters, we wouldn't really have a story. And even though Benny's situation was not my situation, it's not my children's situation, in the last 20 years, I've met a lot of different readers in a lot of different situations. I mean, I met a reader back in December who showed up with my first book, Secrets of My Hollywood Life, that she won at a school visit I had gone to in 2007. And she said it was the one thing she kept after they lost their home and they were homeless for a while. And then they found a new home. And she told me this story in December, and I was like, everybody has a different story. I
Mhm.
was like so moved that she had held on to my book that way. And so, I had one librarian say to me last year, like, I'm so angry, she said, at Benny's mom. And I said, I know, but I feel like every kid has a different story, and somebody out there has a story very much like Benny,
Yeah.
whose parent isn't necessarily reliable. And Benny hopes for the best, but worries that it's not going to happen. And she really is worried now that her grandmother has passed on. Are
Yeah.
her and her mom going to be able to make it? And so this game that Evelyn Terry leaves her is a lifeline. And I wanted the stakes to feel high for my main character. I wanted it to be, I mean, obviously, if somebody tomorrow offered us a game and was like, you could inherit a vineyard and a very successful inn and a huge fortune if you play my game, like, of course, yes, we
Yeah,
want to play
let's
the
go play a
game.
game.
But I wanted the stakes to be even higher. So why would Benny really, really want to win, not knowing what she's up against at the beginning? And I thought, she has skin in the game. If this would finally give her a stable home
Yes.
and she wouldn't have to worry about where they were moving next, and her mom, who she worries about almost as if she's her mom's parent, her
Yes.
mom would be okay as well. And so I I really, really thought about Benny's backstory, and I wanted somebody who was plucky and who, because it would be so easy to be negative if you were in Benny's
Yeah.
situation,
Yeah.
glass half empty. And instead, she's very much glass half full. Her grandmother trained her well when she was alive. Winners don't quit. And she really tries to see the best in everything, even if she's not very trusting at first, because she has reason not to be.
Yeah.
I really like Benny as a character.
Yes. Yes, I do too. And that's what as I thought about her, I was like, she just wants, like you were saying, that stability, that security,
Mhm.
that consistency. She would like some consistency in life
Yes.
and not, is
Yeah.
she going to move again? And she doesn't have a good friend, you know?
No.
So I like that. I think it's one of the workers at the house that just keeps trying to
Wally.
shoo her out, Wally, to go be a
Yes.
kid, to
Yeah.
go and experience life. And she's like, I don't have time to be a kid. I got to solve this and fix my family and save my family. And he's like, go ride some bikes, go make some friends. And she learns the importance of friendships. And
Yes.
she experiences some hurt in friendships too. And
Yes.
that's important that
Hmm.
that happens in life. But I love this, that it's about, because this it's often a struggle for me in my life. Like where I used to teach sixth grade in the DC suburbs, I always felt like there was just too much put on these sixth graders, with the violin
Yeah.
lessons and the homework and this and this and this.
Yes.
And then actually I had a wide range of financial people coming to the school because then some of them, mom was not present at all. Kind of like Benny's mom. And but
Hmm.
anyways, it was just like kids need to go play in the dirt and they need to go have fun. And that was maybe as I've been thinking about this book and thinking about what was the biggest thing for me. was yes, Benny, that she has this timeline. She has this crunch.
Right.
She learned to be a kid and play
Yeah.
and have fun and make friends. And to me, I was like, that's the best thing about this.
It is. It's, there's a little bit of the Goonies in this story too, in a
Yay,
way.
yeah.
Because, I always, what I loved about the Goonies was that there were these kids going on a huge adventure together. And some of those kids at the beginning of the story were not friends. They came from very different worlds.
Yeah.
And yet they found this connection. And with Benny, who's never had the opportunity to be in one place long enough to form these friendships, she very quickly makes two friends and they really help her. And she's never been able to rely on anybody else. And that was part of the fun as well. I just kept picturing like a summer on the east end of Long Island, like I had with my grandparents, and being on a bike and being at the beach. And
Yes.
yes, there are stakes, but there's also a lot of fun there. She's never sat at a restaurant and had lunch with friends.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's been
That's
really enjoyable. It's hard writing book three right now and giving it up. I'm somebody who loves to write a series. I love
yes.
spending time with characters and they become so real to me. I hate saying goodbye to them as well.
Right. Right. Oh,
No?
that's hard. That's hard. Oh my goodness. To say goodbye to a friend at the end of the day. I really sometimes I do. Like I go through a period of mourning after I
Yes,
finish something that I know I'm not going to revisit that character.
yes,
I get why there's so many fandoms out in the world because
yes,
they the way
absolutely.
that they keep them alive. Because yeah, I'll just like sit for a couple days and be like, oh, it's
Yes.
them.
I'm sad to see them go.
Yes. But all the fun and at the end of the day, like I was saying with the joy that Benny experiences, this is what we hope for readers, that this is
Hmm.
fun for them, that they were kids and they had a fun read.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
So thank you. Thank you for bringing that to them.
Thank you.
So can you tell us, do we know what book three is going to be called in a way that you're allowed to share yet?
We do not have an official title yet.
Mhm.
We have been kind of like going back and forth on what it should be. I mean, Isle of Ever is the series title. And we're like, what would fit well with book three? And I had offered some suggestions, and my publisher did as well, but it's not finalized
You
yet.
haven't, you'll know it when you hear it, right?
I know, I know, I know. So, I mean, The Curse Breaker was such a great book two title. I'm
Yes.
so glad we went with the series title as the book one title. So I'm sure book three will be just as exciting. I'm
All
sure we
right.
will be able to announce it soon.
All right. Perfect. Do you have an approximate date for what we're waiting
No,
for?
no, it was funny because we announced book two. There was on the June date from Isle of Ever one. There was like the date Benny started
Uh-huh.
searching when the Blood
Okay.
Orange Moon occurred. That was the date we revealed the cover of book two.
That's
So
fun.
I'm like, oh gosh, I wonder if book
Will
three
we
will
be
be
ready to
revealed
do
on that
that?
date again.
That'd be fun. Oh, that's fun.
We'll
All right.
see.
Well, since you've written 43 books in 20 years, is there anything else going on that we can expect to see coming out?
I mean, book three will be out in March 27.
So
March.
27. And
So I'm
then are
very
you
excited.
doing more Disney stuff? Do you have more going on with your tailors? Is
The
this
Taylors will have a second story coming out September 15th. It is called Fearless.
nice?
And the girls are going on a fifth grade class trip to Nashville,
Fun.
which is, very fun for a Swiftie. There's a lot going on there. And so I'm very excited for them. I think that's going to be really cute. And I have a YA coming this summer as well. I haven't done a true YA in a while.
Yeah.
It is called Practically Magic,
Ooh, that sounds
coming
cool.
from Avon, and it is two sisters who are witches the week before Halloween when one sister realizes the other sister put a love spell on her and it
Oh,
has backfired. So
oh, shoot.
that's it's fun. It's fun. And it's fun. I haven't done YA in a while, so I'm excited about that as well.
Yeah, what do you feel the difference when you're doing a YA and a middle grade? What's the pull? What's the
It's funny because sometimes I think about Isle of Ever if it had been a YA, like what would be different.
right?
I love a middle grade. I think my head is always in that space where I love writing about characters who are on the cusp of, teenhood, who are tweens. I love that space so much. But sometimes it's fun. Like a YA usually would feel a little bit longer. Some of the feelings are a little bit deeper, and there's some romance in Practically Magic. It's got a very romantic cover, and it's fun to dabble in that world. I haven't in a while. So I started in YA, and I love middle grade, but it's always fun to get to play in another sandbox for a little bit.
That's fun. That's cool. Sounds like something I would read. I hung out so much in young adult, and then now I ended up
Yeah.
just mostly middle grade, that I almost exclusively read and interview middle grade authors. It's almost all middle grade. And I've got an interview with April Henry coming up, and I'm excited because it's been over a year that I've read young adult book, and I'm
Right.
glad. I need some young adult back in my life.
I know it's always nice to like go jump over there for a little bit. Like I
Right?
love the inheritance games, like Jen Lynn Barnes. Those are like the my favorite YAs. She is so good at a mystery and riddles and clues, and so I love reading her.
Nice.
Even though I read a lot of middle grade as well.
Nice, nice. All right. Well, can you recommend another children's book that you love? Any
Mm.
age?
Well, I mean, I love everything James Ponti does. I mean, the
Nice.
Sherlock Society and the City Spy series. He has these two
Yes,
really
I
great middle
just
grade series.
received my
Europa.
Europa in the mail.
He's so good. And he actually was a huge help to me working on Isle of Ever because when I was
Nice.
plotting how long the island should disappear, we had a
Yes.
long talk about that.
Cool.
And we had a long talk about Indiana Jones and things
Nice.
like that. So he's really, I love those two series for kids. I think they're great. If for kids who like dragons, Mary Mancusi's New Dragon City and Dawn of the
Yes.
Dragons, it's like a dragon apocalypse. Like what if it,
Yes.
how to train your dragon, but with an apocalypse thrown in. There, look, you've
Right
got them
here.
too. You've got them too. I
Yes, I
totally
had
love
I
them.
had Mary on the podcast actually. And yes, my I was listening to New Dragon City in preparation for
Dawn
reading
of
the
the Dragon.
prequel, and my 15-year-old at the time loved it so much that I could only listen when I was with him.
I mean, Mary and I have written a book together. We wrote a Disney book together called
I
Polar
didn't know that.
Nights. Yeah,
We
we
both
Polar
did
Nights.
Disney, but I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah, it's an Elsa and Anna story.
Oh,
She wrote the
fun.
Elsa, I wrote the Anna.
Ah,
And
fun.
ever since then, when we did this, now like whenever we're working on any book, we'll call each other and say, I'm stuck right here. Can
Yeah.
I tell you what I'm doing?
Yes.
You help me figure it out. She's just so good at plot and fast-paced story. So for kids who like dragons, I would say Mary. And then if you like things that have like a secret society and also riddles and clues, like an Isle of Ever, Alison Gerber's The
Yeah.
Liar Society is wonderful. It's really
Oh,
fun. Book
fun.
3 is coming out as well. So those
Yes.
are some of my recommendations.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Those are great recommendations. And thank you for taking the time to be on with us and share about Isle of Ever. And we just can't wait as the series continues.
Thank you so much for having me.
I hope that you enjoyed hearing Jen Calonita talk about Isle of Ever and the Curse Breaker. We're so excited for the third book to come out next year. If you enjoy my podcast Book Cuddle, I would really appreciate it if you could take a second and help me out. Go and rate and review Book Cuddle on your podcast platform. That helps me to grow the podcast, and it also helps, more people to find out about these great books and these great authors, and just makes me so happy.